Getting ready for Betty and Michelle, Phyllis and Stephanie. There's a new show called Good Grief, Good Gossip, Good God, called it G3. Education, celebration, transparency. There's no subject they won't tackle if it uplifts you and me. Good grief, good gossip, good God, G3.
Hi, this is Betty Baye, one of the co-hosts of the G3 on SSCliveTV. And today, we have 4 co-hosts, and it's just 2 of us here today. I am here with my co-host, Stephanie Lackey. Our co-hosts, Michelle Porter, and Phyllis Clark have taken this week off. And we sort of planned it this way. We're having an intimate conversation. And you know that one of our mottos here at the show is about being transparent. And over the weeks and the months of our show, we have told a lot about our own lives and our own challenges and struggles. So today I want to talk about breast cancer. There is hardly a family that we know that hasn't been touched by cancer in one way or the other. And recently, our G3 family was touched by the issue of breast cancer. And we were touched in the person of my co-host tonight and my single guest for this intimate conversation, Miss Stephanie Lackey, who has agreed to talk to us about the journey. And let me just say about breast cancer is that while for years white women were more likely to get breast cancer, Black women are closing the gap. Not only that are we closing the gap, but we tend to often have the more aggressive forms of breast cancer. And you should know that there is not one kind of breast cancer, there is many, and there's not one kind of treatment. But the good news is that so many people are living longer with breast cancer than ever because of the medical advances, because of the money that we give when we support cancer organizations. And there are specific organizations around the country and locally that are designed to address Black women's issues because our issues tend to be different going in. And so, Stephanie, I really do appreciate you being willing to talk about your journey with the breast cancer and our journey. And we are all, the G3 family, we're like every other family in America. We have been touched by cancer. I've been touched by it. There's hardly a family we know that hasn't had some challenges with breast cancer. So Stephanie, thanks for talking about your journey. But let's go to the beginning, Stephanie, because we all know you to be our healthy person, our bike rider, our Zumba girl. You have always taken great care of yourself. And so tell us about when this all started and even why you feel, comfortable sharing your story at this time with us.
First of all, I have to say, thank you to you. Thank you to all of Stephanie Faith Fight warriors who have prayed, who have gathered in prayer, who have prayed, who have sent cards, who have sent food, who have sent just text, who have just always just made sure that they check on me since I have started my journey. So my journey started back in September when I went for my annual mammogram. Since I was 19, I've had to go for mammograms. I have been cyst prone. That means my breasts were prone to have cysts, and I've had several removed throughout my life. So it was no big deal when I got the phone call asking me to return for a follow-up because they saw something. So I was like, oh, no big deal. I was not alarmed, was not shaken. I was just like, okay, no big deal. Went for my second round where I went and had a deep compression, a diagnostic test. And I was like, okay, so I'll just wait for those results to show up. No big deal. Then I got a third call back and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm still no big deal. I've had this happen before. I know God's got me, whatever it is. I'm still not concerned. I'm thinking maybe they found another cyst. Then I'm getting calls to schedule biopsies, not one, but 2 on my left breast. So this process is going on. It was scheduled for November. I want to say that was November 20th. Which was a very important day because that was my aquaversary. So I'll never forget that day. Trying to celebrate with my line sisters and stressing a little bit over the fact that, there's something going on here. The next following week, my test was supposed to come back maybe 5 business days later. They came back in 3. I remember that morning on the 24th when I went to the grocery store. I was by myself, came home, struggling trying to get groceries out of my trunk of my vehicle, and my phone is just ringing, and I look, and it's my doctor. And I knew before they even told me. And that's when I heard those words: "You have cancer. You have lobular carcinoma." And I'm like, what the heck is that? First I just needed to process the fact that I had this foreign thing, whatever that was, right? And I'm a curious person, so I want details. How did I get it? Where did it come from? Can you get it out right now? Is it all over my body? I just had a ton of questions. So with that particular doctor, I stayed on the phone with that person for over an hour, just asking a lot of questions I wanted to know, and ended up consoling that doctor. That doctor was so upset. I was more curious. And then the doctor that did the biopsies called right afterwards to see if I had received my results, because he wanted to also tell me what I had. And I was like, yes. I just hung up with my gynecologist, and he saying he had the same state. "I'm so sorry." And I'm like, do I only have a couple of months to live? Just tell me, just be straight with me. And they're like, no, it's not that. But you do have a process to go through. Okay, I'm a straight shooter. Tell me what I need to do to get this out. And so I went through a lot of tests from that point on. But in the meantime, I'm still living life because I'm having no pain whatsoever. None. I'm still cycling every day. I'm still working hard in my business every day. I'm still praying to God, God, whatever your will is, I'm going to go by your will. I'm going to have faith, whatever you have for me. If this is the end of my life, I'm going to live it to the fullest until you decide that you want me to come home, right? So I'm just going on with life. I get a phone call. You need to have an MRI. Not only do you need to have an MRI, you need to come in on Christmas Eve and have it, right? And so again, this is COVID season, by the way, so I'm going through all of this by myself.
But Stephanie, just say, what is an MRI, so people who may not know what that is?
So an MRI is where it depends on what part of your body that needs to be scanned, but it's a body scan. So they can do a more deeper look into your body, into your tissues, into your organs to see if there are any more cancer cells hiding out somewhere. So I actually had to have one on my right side, on my right breast, to see if there was any other spread of any other types of cancers, right? If that particular cancer, the lobular carcinoma, has spread to the right breast. Well, I get the phone call the next following week, no, that it did not spread, but I had a different type of cancer, which was really alarming. I had ductal cancer on that side, totally different type of cancer. So immediately, I started having more tests done to make sure I didn't have any spread to other parts of my body. At that time, they really could not tell me. I had to have what they call a Brock test. A Brock test is where they test your genetic code, your genetic makeup, to see if you have any codes where cancer may run into your genetic line, your bloodline, right? And so, I just found my biological family, just here recently, a few years ago. So luckily I had, because they were able to do the test and find out that no type of cancers ran through my genetic code. So yes, I was dealt these cards and I had these 2 different types of cancers. At the time, that's what I knew, but it did not run into my genetic code. So I was not even supposed to have cancer, but again, the cards I was dealt. So my surgery was scheduled for a bilateral mastectomy on January 13th. Went through all of that during surgery.
Bilateral. Explain what bilateral is.
That's when they have to remove both breasts because the cancer had spread to, on the right side, 18. They had to remove 18 lymph nodes on the right side because it did spread into my lymph nodes, 2 on the left side. And they had to send those off for testing, right? And so because of that, there is a chance that the cancer could have spread to other parts of my body. We don't know yet, right? So I did go through radiation for the last 6 weeks and 2 days. I'm so happy to say I finished that last Tuesday. So happy to finish that last Tuesday. And radiation is where they're just zapping you with radiation to kill off the cancer cells. There's a lot of side effects from it. I did very well with it until I got towards the end, and it kind of fatigued me out. But my last day of radiation, my oncologist, radiologist told me I would need 3 weeks before I could even do anything. And you are pretty fatigued. You're wiped out. Saturday, I'm happy to say I did 39 miles on my bike. So it just depends on the individual. It depends on your willpower. It depends on so many things. For me, my journey has been about faith. My journey has been, I'm going through this to help someone else. I'm not supposed to have cancer. It's not running in my genetic code. This is not something that I expected. This is something that I'm still going through. And I believe that it is to help someone. I have it. It doesn't have me. And it is a blessing for me to help so many different people. And there's so many people that have reached out to me, so many people who have chose to become very depressed over it. I get it. I understand why they would be depressed over it. I have chosen not to be. I have chosen to take it. I got it. It doesn't have me. I'm going on with life until I can't move anymore. And I'm living life to the fullest. God.
On that note, let us take a little break here, and then let us come back and go through, because I really wanted you to explain it in details, but I also want our sisters to know what's on the other side in terms of, like you said, I'm still going to live my life to the fullest. So let's take a little break and come back.
Good stuff.
Hi, my name is Dr. Crystal Narcisse. I practice internal medicine and pediatrics with Norton Healthcare, and I'm also the co-director for community outreach. We're here today to debunk a few things about women's health.
Hello, my name is Lucretia Sewell, and I'm a women's health nurse practitioner. I'm here along with Dr. Narcisse today. So we have a jar here that we're going to get started with to talk about some of the myths that are out there. This myth is bras cause breast cancer. There is no scientific evidence that bras can actually cause breast cancer. I know there was a study or a book that came out that supported that, but no actual scientific evidence that bras cause breast cancer.
My provider doesn't want to know about my personal life. That is not true. I have a lot of patients who come to see me for their blood pressure, for their diabetes, and they have things that are going on. Sometimes they're depressed or anxious, and that actually affects your health. So I do want to know about your personal life.
This myth says period pain is normal, even if it is debilitating. That is not actually true. There could be underlying conditions such as endometriosis that may need to be explored, or just other conditions such as ovarian cyst or just other conditions that could be causing this to occur. So debilitating pain with your periods is not actually normal. You definitely want to talk to your provider and be evaluated.
Routine checkups are unnecessary. Totally not true. I'm a firm believer in getting your physical every year. A lot of times I will find something that a patient doesn't even know that they have. A lot of times you can have high blood pressure and not know that you have it, or have diabetes and not know that you have it. So it's always good to see your doctor once a year.
This myth is if I don't have symptoms, I don't have an STD. That is absolutely false. You can totally have an STD and be asymptomatic, without symptoms. So it is very important that you get screened routinely, especially if you're 25 and under or you're engaging in high-risk sexual activity.
As women, we have to make sure that we take care of ourselves as well as our families. There are a lot of people out there who don't have a primary care provider. It's very important that you have one, and to develop a good relationship with that primary care provider.
You also want to ensure that you have a specialist that can, such as a women's health nurse practitioner or OBGYN, or just a healthcare provider that specializes in your needs.
Hi. Hi, this is Betty Baye, G3 host, and we're coming back after our intermission, and we're calling this an intimate conversation with one of my co-hosts, Stephanie Lackey, who was diagnosed with breast cancer in November and who has just been a warrior through this whole thing. And Stephanie, we were talking about the fact that there are different kinds of breast cancer. And I want you to pick that up because you have more than one kind yourself in one person.
Yes, I did. So I had lobular carcinoma in my left breast, ductal carcinoma in my right breast, and then it metastasized. So metastatic, forgive me, I can't say that word, cancer. So the point is there's all kinds of cancers, right? We all don't have, women and men are diagnosed with breast cancer as well. For those who did not know that, they are. There's all kinds of breast cancers. So, whether you are having, some kind of discomfort, an itch or anything that's abnormal, just go to your doctor, have it checked out. I wasn't having any symptoms whatsoever. And even when I was first diagnosed, I had no pain. I had no lumps, no anything, because the lobular carcinoma, which was the first cancer that I was diagnosed with, had no lumpiness to it. It's web-based. So it's like a spider web that just spreads, right? So there was no kind of signs unless it was taken out and biopsied and put under a microscope. I wouldn't have never known it was there. If I was not the type of person that, I am meticulous about making my annual exams and, making sure I go to the dentist, twice a year. Most people, you go once a year. I go twice a year. I make my appointments. I'm huge on that. I wouldn't have never known, right? And it could have spread to the rest of my body, but I'm just meticulous about that. So I just highly encourage everyone, go to your exams, and I know men don't normally go for mammograms, right? But if you have anything abnormal, any kind of spotting, any kind of discharge in your nipple, whatever it may be, go. It's important.
Well, a lot of people may not remember, but Beyonce's father, Matthew Knowles, is a breast cancer survivor, as is Richard Roundtree, who was the original Shaft, the good-looking actor that played Shaft. And that's been a long time ago. I have a cousin who has had breast cancer at least 25 years. So, the survival rate is better, but we do know that there's diet and other things that I think African Americans, we have to be conscious of why we might have some of the same diseases as Caucasians, but it might affect us differently.
Absolutely.
And Stephanie, I know that you have been a warrior doing this, but what are some of the things that you are doing for yourself, your self-healing, your self-care? How are you taking care of yourself? Because you're going to be on a pill, you said, for 5 years?
For 5 years, yes. Yes, anastrol for 5 years, which is a cancer pill, and it prevents the cancer cells from spreading to the other organs in my body. So I'm on that pill for 5 years. Some people are on a pill for 7 years and some for 10. It just depends on the individual. For me, it's 5. But for me, Betty, I get up every morning and I start my day with God. There's no compromising. I go into deep meditation with God. Meditation is so important to your mental health. I have to depend on that to get me through, because there's life while I'm in this cancer journey, and there's life after my cancer journey. I cannot wait to hear that I'm cancer free, right? Because I'm still in this journey right now, right? So I have to start with meditation. Then comes my physical, right? So I go into my workouts after meditation. And the physical thing for me, I enjoy working out. I enjoy being on my bike. It's free.
Crazy. Yeah, it's a workout.
It's where I find my solace. It's where I find my peace. It's where I find that I'm one, with the earth, and just being out and breathing deep breaths and it's God and I out there, on my bike, and I'm just free, right? I'm just absolutely free. So every worry, every stress, every care is released in every breath while I'm on my bike.
You look marvelous, darling. You look beautiful, especially tonight in your colors. You really look gorgeous.
Thank you very much. Thank you,
Stephanie. What makes you because I know we talked about this. What made you decide that in the interest of I want to talk about this? what's in it for you to share this story? What do you think, baby?
There are so many people who are walking around who are experiencing the same thing that I went through. They may not have the same cancer, but they are experiencing something, and it may not be cancer. Say it's something else. Say it's diabetes. Say it's whatever it is. They don't know how to deal with it, right? They don't know that you can choose not to be depressed. You can choose to be happy.
Wow.
If you've got that vertical relationship with God, you can choose to be happy. You can choose to have peace while you're going through all of this, right? All this chaos is happening around you. All this, this feeling of I'm less than because I have this, right? You have it, but it doesn't have to have you, right? So I feel like that I didn't get cancer for me because remember, it's not in my genetic code. I shouldn't even have it. I'm going through this for a reason, and it's to help someone else. It's part of my life's journey. It's just something. It was a card that I was dealt. So now I've got to use it. How dare I not? And why not me, right? Why not me? I have got to help someone else. It is my responsibility to. And I have been able to. So that's the part that's rewarding when I can have a conversation with another woman and say, hey, when they start like almost putting themselves down to beat someone else from putting themselves down, I can't believe I no longer have, right? And I give them points. Well, honey, let me tell you what you need to do about that.
Yeah.
Let me tell you what you need to do. Let's go do a makeover. Let's go boost up your self-esteem, and let me show you how you can do that. Let's go put some makeup on today. Let's go put a bra on today. Let's go do this. We're going to do this today. Let's go for a walk.
I mean, you're an example of how far we've come, because back in the day when people got cancer, they didn't talk about it. It was sort of like this sort of secret thing. My mother, when she got it, we were sworn to secrecy. We couldn't say anything. And I think a lot of us, like you said, your genetic code, a lot of us do not know our code because we just had elder women in our family that had breast cancer. We go to the doctor. They ask us, does it run in your family? Well, you don't know because those women didn't talk about what happened to them. And sometimes I think the younger generation talks too much about everything. But I do think that there are important things that I think that it is an advancement to be able to talk about this subject and to do so openly, and to say, and the thing interesting about you is that you're not on the other side of your journey. You're in the journey. So it's not like you haven't gotten that badge that says I'm a survivor yet.
Right.
And
exactly.
yet you have found the courage to talk about this. And I think that is courageous because African Americans are known. People think we talk a lot, but African Americans keep a lot of secrets. And one of them is our health. So it's not our physical health, it's our mental health. And so many of us are walking around stressed and everything. And I think on top of all the stress that Black women have anyway, breast cancer is another stressor. So you're talking about how to work with, which is a natural stress to find out that you have, a disease like that. So what else do you do? Have you changed your diet? Is there something else, some other things you've done?
So for me, I've always tried to eat pretty much healthy anyways. I have cut back on my biggest thing was always sweets. That was my weakness, right? So I've cut way back on that. I don't eat red meat. I haven't for years. That's not my thing. I don't eat fried foods. I never really did. Every now and again, I do like a good chicken wing, not wing, but wing. Yes, but I've never really eaten bad anyway. So that was never an issue. And the good thing about when you do go through this type of journey, the hospitals are so good, whether you go to Baptist or it doesn't matter. They have such great programs that they will connect you, with a nutritionist that will help you if that's what you need help with. They'll connect you with mentors to help you through this journey. They'll connect you with all kinds of support. So, but I didn't really need that because I was already kind of teaching it, myself to others, how to eat right and how to exercise. And so that really was advantageous for me to already have those golden nuggets. For me, it's more internal. It's an internal journey for me, and how I can help others not feel like that you are now this monster because you have this disease, because you're not. You didn't ask for it. It's something that happened to you. Now let's help you get through the process.
Mm-hmm. And tell me the importance, significance of having a support system for you. How
Oh,
what difference does it make when you have, that's what you get from telling, that you get the
mhm.
circle of people that know. How many women, Stephanie, really have you talked to that you may not have even known they had breast cancer since you were diagnosed?
Oh my goodness. I mean, a lot more than the fingers on my hand, more than, I mean, it's amazing how many women have opened up to me, have called me, and reached out to me, on social media, and just said, can I talk to you? And it always starts, can I talk to you? I heard your story, or I heard that you have, and how are you doing? Oh, by the way, I didn't want to say anything, but you know what? I went through this maybe a year ago, and I haven't told anyone. You're the first person. And I'm like, first of all, thank you for opening up to me. I always thank them, because it's hard. You're being vulnerable to share that, but it's amazing. And the support system is so important, that you surround yourself with people who are positive, with people who are
Yeah.
going to lift you up, because there are going to be days. I've had my days. Don't get me wrong. I'm not just around here doing cartwheels and skipping all the time. I have my days when I'm just like, oh, okay, God, this is a heavy load. I'm a human being. So I have my down days, right? But then I have to lift myself back up, or I have to call a girlfriend and say, hey, I'm having a moment. And that girlfriend lifts me back
We'll have
up.
to lift you up. Well,
That's important.
this half an hour has gone so quickly, Stephanie. But we wanted to, again, to be transparent. We want to talk about how breast cancer has touched us. And you have some contact information. We're going to have information on the show that we're going to put up on the screen of different issues. You can see, to our viewers, you will see some of Stephanie's journey along the way. But Stephanie, what are some of your contact information? We have to do that to talk about how
Yeah.
people can reach us.
Well, on social media, on Facebook, I do have a Facebook page called Stephanie Faith Fight Warriors. You can find me there. And then you can always find me on the agileentrepreneur.net. All my social media platform, my whole entire empire is listed there.
Okay, and I'm Betty Baye. Again, I'm one of the co-hosts of the G3, and we hope that this information has been helpful, not only to the St. Stephen family that are here, but to all of you who are watching us from other places and other cities. And we say, get your mammograms, get help. Men, you are not exempt from having breast cancer, so you need to understand too. And my contact information is bettybaye.com. You can reach me at bettybaye.com. But Stephanie, again, I love you, girl. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for sharing. And hopefully we will hear from people in the chat or wherever to let us know that we have been helpful to them on the journey. And Stephanie, thank you for opening up your life and yourself to us at this important time. So we're going to sign off now, but this was a very quick conversation, but it was an intimate conversation, and hopefully it's been helpful. Love you, Steph.
Love you. Thank you.